Okay, this is a starter motor for a 2003 Lincoln LS. Tell you right off the bat, this is a bitch. This is a tough job because you can't get to it, you can't see one of the bolts. Now to start, you want to take off the right front tire because that's where it's on the passenger side. And the reason you need to do that is because you have to take off this shield here. This right here, this is the harness for the starter motor. And one of the bolts to take this loose, there's two 8mm bolts that go through. Can't get to one of them, so I need to pop this off and get that starter motor cable out of the way because it is in the way. In order to take this off, there's going to be a Phillips head right here. And then you got these pop-off things underneath there. And really what you need is one of these to get those out. This makes the job a lot easier. And these are just like 10 bucks or so. Let's see. These might break off too, but this is how you get them. So there's one. You can see how it looks there. It's just a long one with serrations around it. And this is going to go flying because I only have one hand. Can't grab it. Well, anyways, so that stuff comes off. And there's one more back there. Right here. Take that off. And I'll show you the starter motor in a minute. Oh, whoops, I made a mistake. There's two more of these things. Like this here. This one just broke off. Nothing I can do about it. And there's two more down here. Get this one, and these are the ones like this. You pop out the center part and then the rest comes out. Except for that other piece that just broke off. And this is what you have when you pull this cover away here. All these cables back there. And this is the one here that you can't get to. Two bolts, 8mm, one there, one there. And this one you can get to, but not this one. So I'll pop that off, pull this whole cable out of the way, because it is in the way. And then I'll show you where the starter motor is. Here's the starter motor. I finally got it out. And it was a bitch because you can't see that top nut up there. Let's see, where is it? This nut right here. They're all 13. Both of them are 13. Even the ones on the solenoid are 13. What you got is the top one, you can't see it at all. It comes through like this. This one on the top. And it's just all by feel. And you can really just get one hand up there at a time. So to start with, what you have to do is use one of these, 13mm. Make sure you got to go in the right way. And you could just barely get it on here. It takes a while to fill it. But once you get it on, you can just move it a little bit. Because actually it's more like this. It's sitting there more like this. Let's see. How is this? I think it's more like that. Because this starter motor is in the way. I tried this kit up here, coming in this way, with a longer one. Problem is, this wasn't quite long enough. The other one's a little bit too long. And you got these wires coming through here that are in the way. So this is possible to work if you can get the right extension on there. using the 13 millimeter wrench. Let's see where to go. Okay, the problem is this thing here hits right there, and the top part hits on the exhaust manifold. There's a shield that comes around it. So this is pretty fine. I think this is 72 tooth, which is pretty good, but still, you know, there's hardly any movement here. It's like, I don't know, this much or so. It's really bad, really limited. And so what you have to do is push up against the heat shield on the top. That'll give you a little bit more play up there to make this bite. Problem is this solenoid's in the way, so you just loosen that bolt a little bit, and then you can get the stubby here on it, 13. And the stubby gives you a little bit more back and forth here. And it didn't take much with the stubby, just a few turns, and then I was able to wind the nut off with my hand, just the fingers. The other possibility is to take out these are Phillips here, remove the solenoid, and if you do that, you'd be able to use this ratchet with a 13 on it right there, because that's the problem with this thing. I actually loosened it a little bit with this, and then got the wrench on it. But if you get this thing out of the way, it'd be a lot better. Alright, so this is how it sits in there pretty much, about that angle there. Of course, this is the side to the transmission. The front of the car is up here, and it's on the passenger side. Pretty much where this floorboard is. And you've got your, one of your cables goes right here, and the other big cable, that's the big cable, goes here. That's a hot. The other big cable goes down here, and once you remove that harness, that gives you room to get up here. And there's also another smaller cable that goes right to here. This is a 10 millimeter, but you can't see it. It's down way on the back side. The thing goes like that, and there's no way, unless you've actually done this, to see, you know, you don't know what's going on there. So what I did was I just left that one on there. And this was this is how this goes here. That's your mounting bolt into the transmission, and then your ground strap, your heavy ground strap goes on here, and then this goes on. So you just take off this nut, take your wire off, unscrew this, and this thing stays on there pretty tight, even though the bottom screw is out, or bolt, the top, even when the top one was off, I had to forcibly push this hard just to loosen it up. Some people say they have to hit it with a mallet, or rubber mallet or something too. So at least you don't have to worry about that, you know. It stays tight there while you take that top one out. I just got the starter motor installed. It wasn't too bad. One thing that I was able to figure out is exactly how long of an extension you need to get to it. This is it right there. This is a 1/4 inch ratchet, and whatever you use, whether it doesn't have to be a long socket, it just has to be 13 millimeter, and it goes right to 5 3/4 to 6 1/4 to the outside of the ratchet right there. And you can get that up inside and tighten that nut up on top. There's the O2 sensor. Pull that out. It's 22 millimeter. give you a look here at the starter. One thing to take note of, see right here, it looks like when you first put this in, I didn't take notice of it when I took it out, but it looks like it would go, this part fitting flush down here, but it doesn't. And I was able to get this over the top bolt up there. That's stationary, so that's still there. And then put this one in here and tighten this up, hand tight, and then get a nut up on the top there. And it's probably best to come to or work on it from this side here, right underneath the tire. This is really where you can get in the best access. You can see everything here better than sitting down below it. So now I just have to do my 3 connections here. This one here is the positive, and right behind it is a small one, and that's 10 millimeter to take that off and on with a nut there. And you'll see which one that is. And then there's one here that goes over top of this right there, be the ground.
Each time putting it in or taking it out?